Okay, so I'm going to share my desktop with you, and we're going to go talk about today's kind of work and strategies, and then we'll plunge into SketchUp. So for the 3 different projects, where we're going to put our emphasis and our energy, and where we're going to kind of let things go a little bit. So let me do share screen. And I'll just do my whole desktop because I've got a lot of stuff. Okay, so the project, the hut project, is it's really this front part of it. The let me see if I can zoom up here. This, make that bigger. So this and this, bigger still. There we go. And everyone can see these things. And we're going to worry not so much. It does some kind of quirky things in the back. And I'm going to tell, if you have the time, you're welcome to work on them. We're going to not worry about that so much. We're going to really focus on this front view, the south facade, and the sides adjacent to it, particularly looking in this direction. Okay, so that's a big part of today's class, is that we're going to work on this interior, this glass south facade. And we'll probably be spending more time on that than the other projects. You know, as I was discussing with David before this class, there is a beautiful elegance and simplicity to the construction of this house. But there's also a lot of complexity because all of the structure is revealed or is mostly shown. So this makes it a lot more of a challenge than, for example, the lounge in Mexico, which is reinforced concrete. It's basically a straight up extrusion, more or less. And even the yard house, which has got some complexity going on in section, but which the lounge in Mexico does not have. So that's why we're going to prioritize these. So looking at this guy is, I want to be able to replicate this Kimo 5 JPEG. So let me take a look now. Case study, hut, yard house. So the yard house is deceptively simple looking, but I would really like to get the interior, the first floor, and the way the light is coming in here. So I would like to get this, capture this image. So we'll work on the stair. I'm going to do the stair in a real easy breezy kind of way. But these are the kinds of views. The upstairs, we're not going to worry about very much. But if we can get a view like this and a view across the yard like this, that will be pretty satisfactory. Okay, but we're just not going to worry. The upstairs, for the most part, is not super interesting. It's just a series of bedrooms that, from what I can tell, only have windows at the bottom, which, as far as any kind of ventilation, seems extremely problematic. But that's just my climate sensitive outlook. Okay, and then the case study, the Potslan. So this is the most straightforward building. I mean, there's kind of these skewed angles are kind of a little bit of an issue, but it's a reinforced concrete structure. There's nothing really happening. The section pretty much just goes straight up. There's nothing much happening. There's not a second floor. So my expectation, and I imagine Professor Bertram's as well, is this is going to be the most fully realized of all of the case study projects, because this one is, with a few small areas, is very straightforward, given what you already know, to model it. And so that's where we're going to really be pushing for you to be quite thorough with this guy, because you really do have the time. And it would be good to get some inside views looking out. I keep getting frustrated that, you know, some of the elements are not very fully realized or shown, you know, where there's sliding glass doors, things like that. But we'll just have to make do. See, there's a sliding glass door right here, but it isn't shown on the plan. So we'll have to kind of work with that. There's not much of an uphill view. This is what some of you were confused, like what's due. This is the site plan. So it incorporates the roof and the contours. No, you don't need to put a gray shading on it or anything. And you don't really, you need the trunks of the trees, but you don't need to show the overhead canopy of the trees in this. So that's the site plan. Everyone is clear on the stuff that's due this Sunday. There is your absolute final CAD files, okay? Those are the absolute done, submitted as PDFs. Includes for the Tepoztlan Lodge in Mexico, includes the site plan, as well as what you should already have completed, the floor plan and section. For the hut, you're including, and most of you already have done this, the section and the south elevation, but most of you have gotten that. You don't have to do this detail, this footing detail. You don't really have to do it, although we should try to get it into the model, because it doesn't tell us that much more than we can see in the section.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I also did the west and the east elevation.
Great.
Should I include that for you just to take a look at it?
Please do.
Okay.
That would be very helpful to have those. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this one is the best documented of all of the three projects. So we have a lot of material to work with, all the elevations, the section, even a detail. And a lot of photos. And then finally, whoa, what's going on here? Come on. Work with me here. Yard house. Yard house, you guys, because you've had to draft the second floor, is all you really need to do is this very simple elevation. So you've had to do this second floor, and you'll do the outside elevation. And you've had the fairly intricate section to work with. Okay? So everyone's clear as far as the CAD. And this is the absolute done, finished, final. Everything's going to be perfect, right? Yes. Yes, it is. Although, David, one question is, should they poche in, or should they just use line weights? or shall we leave that to the student? I've been
I think
seeing,
I think we could leave it to them, like you said on Tuesday, because I think the dark line weights look good. The few people who didn't post Shay, I think if it looks good, it looks good.
yeah, I'm kind of, my own inclination is, I think that most of you got the line weights right. Is let's see the line weights
Yeah,
if you can do that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Considering the schedule, I think there's a good chance that AutoCAD's not going to go into Photoshop.
right.
Yeah, so get the line weights perfect so that they're just standalone, black and white, beautiful drawings.
Yeah.
Which is there's no shame in that. These drawings look fantastic just on your screen there, Michael. Generally speaking, so you guys could do the same. So yeah, I think we're going to save SketchUp to get into Photoshop, some Entourage, but let's by Sunday be done with CAD.
Great. Okay.
Oh, there is a second column there, isn't there, in the top right picture there?
Yeah, right.
Some people don't have that in their plan.
Yeah, it isn't in their plan.
Yeah, two columns flanking the path.
Let's see if there's.
Do they have it in their plan?
Nope.
No, they do have that one corner column there. Yeah.
That's the corner column, but not the one that would be right.
Yeah, not the left-hand column.
Yeah.
I think some people might have been missing that single column though. At least at some point. I'm gonna go get into the grading now soon.
Okay, so let's get into SketchUp.
Can I ask one question about SketchUp before you do jump in? When do you recommend they set their views? And is it fair to say, like, if they were to set their views right away, then they don't have to build anything that's not in the view?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So we want to start. We could and probably should set up views pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I would strongly recommend that you think about it. And so yeah, that's a good idea. But I just think, let's be like, right now, let's start ruling out. We're not going to look at the back unless you have a lot of time of the hut. We're going to hope, and I'm going to start working on the interior to get some interior views of the yard house. And then we're definitely going to want some views inside, both of the outside of the Potsdam Lodge, but also views from the inside looking out. So there are only a few of those views. Trying to see what they've done. Yeah, one view here. But, I think this tells us a lot. You hear a noise in the background, that's my cat. He's going to probably be annoying all afternoon until he
We all have cat problems.
Yes, he's just go take a nap, Buster. All right, let's see now. So let's go into SketchUp. And window. And okay. So what I've done is, or what we should have, okay. Let me show you. This is sort of where we want to get, which looks like there's still a lot to be done, but it's a lot of progress. So this is what I've been doing with my spare time since Tuesday. Okay, so let me show you what I did do here. So I did make this all into a component. Let me unlock that. And I'm just going to move this. Oh, escape. I made the front facade also into a component. Let me move that out of the way. Come on. Holding down the shift key, I'm just going to pull it out away from the building. Okay, so this is what we want to wind up with in maybe 15, 20 minutes. Ah, there's Romina's kitty cat. Hello, cat. You want to say hello to my cat? Oh, my cat hates being picked up. Here's my cat. Hello, cats.
He loves the class.
You like the class?
Say
You're
hi,
learning
Chester.
something?
Say hi. Hi.
Yeah, my cat does not like being held like that. So, no. But he's being.
Keyboard, their favorite thing.
Yeah, he's being a little pain in the butt. But anyway. All right. So let's get started. And what I'm going to do is, for the moment, let's use this one. I'm going to take this component. I'm going to leave it in place. I hope you have the same, or I could hide it. There. Okay. So we've got the A-frame going for the most part. And now it's time to do the south facade and then move it. Then we're going to do it out here, and then we're going to put it in place. So this is a lot. I almost wonder if I'll do it all in front of you. A lot of tracing. So what I'm going to use the pencil, the line tool, and I'm going to just do this triangle up here. And voila, I get a closed triangle. That's glass. I'll start applying materials pretty soon. And let's see, that goes to here, goes to here. So this is the frame around the glass. Okay. So a lot of this, if you thought you were doing a lot of tracing in AutoCAD, we're going to be doing even more tracing in SketchUp. So we're basically tracing over the AutoCAD drawing. So far, so good. And I'm just going to do this in order. Pencil tool. We're drawing actually on top of a component. That's the CAD file that was brought in by Tao. Okay. And that didn't close. Why didn't that close? Okay, I put those lines in and yet it didn't close. Now, what I could do, that didn't work. Let's try this one more time, and then I'll show you there. I don't know, I had to close it off. Sometimes you just have to go back. For some reason that line didn't happen or was missing. Oh, I think I got, okay, let's try that one more time. That is not working. Worked for me earlier today, why it's not working for me now. I'm just flishing back to what I did earlier. Damn. Sometimes when things won't close for you, sorry, I'm flipping around between models. Window. Okay. Maximize this. Okay. So I could stop and probably should, but I'm almost done. This one I can offset. So I'm going to do this and offset it. There. Do the rectangle, actually, might as well. I'm almost done. And do 2 rectangles for the door. That should be easy breezy. Okay, so, and you see these faces, some of them are white, some of them are sort of a bluish gray. It really doesn't matter because we're going to apply materials to them. So if you could, and I'm using the Mac version, most of you are using Windows. So the materials palette is in a slightly different place. So I'm getting this and I'm going to use wood. And I'm going to use this, so I'm going to go and choose wood. And I'm going to use this, and I'm going to get the paint bucket tool. And I'm going to start painting these guys where the wood frames are going to be. So it's early, but I do want to start applying materials. So you folks should do that as well. And then I'm going to put some glass in. I'll just do something slightly different here. Glass and mirrors. I really prefer gray glass, but I'll do, yeah, translucent glass gray. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry if most of you are on Windows and the materials palette in SketchUp and Windows is slightly in a different orient. It's with one of the trays here. So let me.
So which one is the glass?
I prefer gray glass. translucent gray glass.
Okay. Got it.
See, it's just very light gray. You can barely, you can just see a little bit of it. Okay, let me go edit and unhide. Text. Okay, so I want to just do a quick check. I believe I pulled these each out 1.5 inches, but I'm just going to do a quick measurement tool here. Yeah, 1.5 inches. So I'm going to pull this guy out 1.5 inches. Push pull. And I'm going to make it even. It should be even with that edge.
Sorry, how did we unhide?
I'll go to edit, unhide, and I just said last. You could probably unhide all, but and I'm going to pull out the frames, each of them. So there's some differentiation. I'm looking at about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to pull this, push pull this, and I'm going to say 0.75. I'm fussing over the details of this because these are going to be really prominent in your SketchUp file in terms of presenting it. So, and then there's a cool little feature in SketchUp, like once you've done an extrusion, you don't have to keep typing it in. I can just double click on the new surface. Did it go the right way? Oh, that's the problem with that. Edit, undo, push, pull. The double click isn't so great when it doesn't go the right way. So
How much was the push pull?
0.75.
Could you repeat what you said there, Michael? Did you say it knows from the last time the distance or something?
It remembers, like if you push pulled it a certain distance, but sometimes the double clicking gets a little confused. You double click on a new surface and it'll extrude it the same amount. So it's like, it'll be like, oh, you just did 1.5 inches for the last one. So I guess you want to do 1.5 inches for this next one.
Is it a 1 or 2 click procedure for the next one? 2 clicks?
2 clicks. But sometimes, like, it didn't work so well for me. It extruded in the wrong direction.
Oh.
So I was like, you know, oops, not quite what I wanted. Let's see if it does it here. Yeah, there we go. And I forgot this little piece over here. Forgive me, I won't spend our time getting this piece. Well, it is kind of important, so let's see if we can do this. Really should have everything in place first. Actually, let me hide that. Select, hide. And Press pull that out. Let me paint it. Colors in model. Okay, let's save some time. Push pull this out. I don't know if it still remembers, but just... Okay, so we've got ourselves, with a few little quirks to it, our south facade. So let's take a deep breath, cleansing breath. And I'm actually going to add in a feature that I didn't do in the one that I did before. So I'm going to go up here. These features, these things called, they're purlins. They're between the beam and they're essentially where the roof attaches. And there's one thing, the roof is shown as two lines, but actually it is corrugated metal, which we're really going to look at as being just a plane. It'll make it a lot easier to work with. We won't get to the roofs just yet, but you can experiment with them. So there's no, we don't need, and this is I really could almost kick myself as an architecture instructor, because this is a metal roof that's exposed. It's thin. Most roofs aren't like this. This is like a shed roof. It doesn't have any insulation and the structure is exposed. Ordinarily, roofs would have a thickness to them. Okay, so I'm going to put in the rest of the purlins, and then I'm going to extrude them. All right, and that is with the rectangle tool. All right, you're not working with me, so I'm going to have to do the line tool. But that's okay, I'm going to copy these guys in a minute. Line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's a little face now. That's what I want. And I'm going to click on this. And I am going to copy it. And so I'm going to use the Move Copy tool, pick this, hit the Option key, copy it up to there, and then I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 6 copies. So I'm going to type 6x for multiple copies. So I made that look real easy, but that's what you can do in SketchUp, and that's how we're going to get these purlins in there. So they're little faces. We're going to extrude them so that they'll become pieces of wood, or SketchUp's version of a piece of wood. So let me just move this guy. Just going to get my cat off with my new sweater. No, don't, that's not the cat bed. Sorry. Oh. Okay, back. Move. Okay, so I'm going to move this in place. There. And now there's a little extra copy down here. Whoa. And I probably also should do the gutter. It's a little trickier. Do that. Save that for another day. Well, it would be good to do it at this point. If it doesn't have the gutter, it's like, be okay. So let me paint these. I'd like a contrasting wood. I have one. Wood. I should have painted them before, but this gives me a moment. Applying materials can be very soothing. You sort of give your brain a rest. Okay. Yeah, I should have actually probably copied them in 3D, but okay. So I want to extrude these guys out, and it was a little hard to see where that was in. Let me just see if I can pull this up. Here. Let's see, 7'6". Okay. Okay, I just measured off the CAD drawing 7'6", although I could have done that in SketchUp too. The overhang isn't shown in this drawing, but it's just about here. Okay, back to SketchUp. All right. And I am going to, let's see now if the extrude works. Come on. (7'6). Okay. And let's see if this. I guess it would have been faster if I had actually made them three-dimensional first, but this is going pretty fast too. Okay, so this is a little goofy, but this is what we're going to do. I'm going to move this into place. So I'm going to make it into a component. It won't select this because I locked it. I don't want to include the drawing. And I'm going to oh, it didn't select everything. Why didn't it select everything? There. Now it's selected everything. I'm going to right click. I'm going to make it a component. I'm going to call this A-frame 2. All right. So it looks a little goofy and I'm cheating a little bit, but that's okay. I'm allowed. I'm your instructor. That, you know, it's like, at first I wanted, this is just a side note, when I was talking about this project with David, I wanted to be really, you know, into how this would be put together as a wood building. But how you would put this together as a wood building, that process, is not the same as you would when you're making a three-dimensional model of it, at least a SketchUp model. It just doesn't, they don't, they don't go together. So, you know, last Tuesday, when I looked at this, I couldn't bear, I needed a ridge beam. I needed a ridge here. And I just couldn't bear to have these A-frames just sticking up. So let's see what happens now. I'm going to take this and I am going to move this guy out of the way. This is my previous attempt.
How much did we pull the trusses out? How much did we pull them out, the trusses?
An inch and a half each way. So they're 3 inches deep. Total 3 inches deep. Okay. And oh, I haven't done the floor yet, so I should really take that and hide that. All right, now this is the tricky part, is moving the assembly into place. I'm actually going to create a little and I'm just going to put a copy in place. So click, here's my assembly, move, hold down the Option key, and hold down the Shift key at the same time. I could tap that. And I want this to go straight on the green axis. Okay. Midpoint. So this maneuver is really hard. I had trouble. I had to make a couple attempts at it when I did this earlier today during my dress rehearsal. And that's not quite right. So I still have to move it. Okay, let me pan over. It's close, but it's not quite where I need it to be. That should do it. Yeah, that's looks a little weird. This is what I wanted. So I'm happy. And I want you to be happy for me. It's easy to make Stern happy, you know, it doesn't take a lot. But that's actually, this is what I wanted. And the one thing I'm not going to do, I could do this, I could do anything I want, is these purlins do continue all the way through. I could put them running through the rest of it. We don't see them, they're hidden by the roof, but you know, actually maybe I do edit this and pull the extrusions out a little further. That might be something I do over the weekend rather than right now. But this front part and then the back part are the only place that they're actually exposed. Okay, I feel like taking a little deep breath there. So, I'm just going to delete this guy. All right. So now, I actually probably should have done this beforehand. We need the floor. I haven't really done the floor yet. And the floor is raised up in this building. So let me show you how we're going to do that and then take a break. So I'm going to go to View or Edit and unhide all. I'll keep this in the background. It's stored as a component. I'm just going to delete that. Oh, and what I did was I moved the floor up from the ground. I determined from the section and elevation that this distance, which I can do with a little measure tool, and it puts in, which is really annoying. I don't want that. 1 foot 5 inches or 17 inches. What I dislike with the measure tool is it puts in these guides, which I find really, they're the equivalent of the X line, but they're not actually, and they will show up and they allow you to snap to things. We'll look at this later when we want to set up things like windows and set a height of things we can snap to but are not visible. I don't particularly like these guys. I'm just going to erase it. If you want to do a measurement with using a little tape measure tool without creating the guides, you hit the Option key. And that doesn't create a construction line. So these guys are very much like the X line. They're annoying because they actually will appear. I don't know why, since they're a construction line, why they don't become invisible. So you just remember, hold down the Option key. So that's what we typically don't want. It creates a guide. There. Okay. So what you have to do, which I've already done, so I'm going to take this guy. I'll move it, and I moved it up 1 foot 5 inches. I'll move it back down. I'll move it back up. That's the kind of guy I am, full service here. So let me move it down. So I'm going to move it down, down. It should say on blue axis. And I'm going to type 17. Okay, so that's the way, this should be what you have right now. Please, I hope this is what you have right now. Right, so we want to lift it up. Okay, so I'm going to pick this guy up and I'm going to lift it. Or I could have lifted it once I put the floor on, but I'm going to just do the move tool. I'm going to move as much as I can easily do on the blue axis. I'm going to type 17. And that should have moved up vertically. So for a while now, I don't want to see this stuff. So I'm going to take this. And there's hide, but really, if we really want to control this, we should really do layers. So I'm going to put this component, instead of the default is layer 0, I'm going to put it on A-frame. And now I'm going to make it go away. So here are the layers. Most of them are imported from AutoCAD. So I'm just going to do the layer, and I'm going to turn off the visibility of layer A-frame just for a minute. Bam. This is a little more sophisticated than always using the hide tool. I like the hide tool for a quick one-off thing, but it's good, particularly as you create a fairly complex building, is to start putting things on layers. So make them components, put them on layers. You're always going to group and put things together to give you more control over a relatively complex three-dimensional architectural model. Okay, so let me switch to a top view, camera, standard, top, and pan. And I am just going to trace over where the floor is in this guy. Okay, so it's another little tracing tool, and then we'll take a little break. So I'll just start from here, go all the way up to here and over. I am going to do this boardwalk in the back, even if we don't get around to looking at the back, but it'll be there. Actually think. Shoot this to the front. Come on. There, yay. Floor. I'll go check a measure, and I'm just going to extrude this downwards. I believe the thickness of this floor, and we're just going to say it's consistent from interior to exterior. There's a little bit of stuff that goes on underneath, and we're just not going to worry about that. That's one of those themes that I might be repeating a lot today. There's stuff that happens in this building, but we're just not going to worry about it. We're just going to try to make it look as beautiful as possible. Okay, let me go out and establish what is the thickness of my floor. And
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have furniture for the hut?
I'll supply some furniture, but if you make any furniture, you're probably gonna do it from scratch.
Uh-huh.
Just to make life hard on you. I mean, I'll collect some furniture for you, but this is all custom built-in furniture. That's probably one of the things that David and I like about this. It's all like both the framing and the finished carpentry are very beautifully done and integrated.
I mean, those are fairly easy. I think the furniture on the hut. I don't know the other.
Yeah, the others,
Okay.
we're going to keep it simple. We're going to try and
Okay.
keep the furniture pretty simple. Yeah. Okay, let me see. What was I doing? Okay, I was getting the measurement of this. So let me just do the measurement of it. But I would encourage you, really the only thing I thought for this hut that I would do is maybe a simple chair and then some lounge chairs that sit outside on the deck. And that would be about it. And the rest you can make just a very simple version yourself. Okay, so let's establish this option. 7.5 inches. All right, 7.5 inches it is. So I'm going to push-pull this. 7.5. And there we go. Here's our floor. Yay. I'm going to put a material on it. Here. Materials. There's a light wood floor. Actually, let me triple click this. And do that again. So when I triple click, then it'll go on all surfaces. There. And just for the heck of it, because I like components, I'm going to make this into a component. So I'm going to double click. Well, I already double clicked. Make it a component. I'll call it floor. I'm going to have to call it floor 2 because there's already one floor. Create. Bam. All right, let's. So this little hut in the middle of Australia is slowly coming into being. The one thing I probably want to do is I want to pull the purlins out through the rest of this. We might as well have them, even if we don't see them, because it'll literally give us something to attach the roof to. But yeah, that's going to be a pain. Oh, well. Should have thought this one out beforehand. So I'm going to push-pull this guy. Come on, keep going. It's going to keep. It's a little tedious again. And this, I think this overhang is too deep, but we can adjust it later. Push-pull this up, and I have to do the same thing. And actually, we only really need to do the top and the bottom. The in-between ones we could do, but I'm not going to do them because I need a break. And if you guys want to do it, you're welcome to do it. So let me push-pull this. So actually, I would encourage you, just to get the feeling of how this is structured, you can do all of them, but I just need the top and bottom ones to do the roof. Push pull. Okay. So I'm going to stop here for a minute, take questions, and then take a little bit of a break. And one thing I might encourage you all to do is, for your boards, is have this with all the purlins put in place to show the structure of this building before you put the roof on. You just make a copy. That's what I'm probably going to do. I'm going to make a copy of this so that I can make this as understandable as possible before I start covering the roof. But I'm going to stop for questions. If there aren't any questions, no questions, none. Was that clear? Maybe we'll pick up after this about putting the roof on. Like I say, I just want to make it a plane. I don't want to give it a thickness. It's just going to make it much easier for us to manipulate it as we go through the rest of this project.
Will we be doing like the structure around like the windows that they're on the side of the hut as well today?
Probably not today because I need to get on to the other case studies.
Okay.
But
and like for Sunday, we're gonna have to get it to the point that it's today, or?
I would like you to try to get those windows in the side.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Okay. It's going to be, but they're pretty straightforward because they just fit in between these frames. So you could take this guy apart, and maybe I'll show how to do that. This one is super time consuming. So I'm glad it's so popular, but there's a lot of maneuvers in this one. Okay, a little bit of a break. Let's pick up at 3:18. I'll set my timer. And I will stop. Let me pause the video. So actually, David, Professor Bertram, came up with a really good point. Is like, let's start figuring out what are the views that we want to have. We can do that now. We don't have to like wait to the end. This applies to all of the projects, but I'm just going to do it on this one because I'm here. So let me go back out of this again. And so a view that I would want to have is this corridor or this bed looking out to the front. So I go to position camera, the little man standing on an X, and I would put him down here. Actually, that's pretty good. I like it coming from that angle. Eye height at 6'11". But maybe it's taking into account that we're above the ground. Because it doesn't look, no, we look like we're the right height. Yeah, okay. And I just go to camera and I adjust my field of view, which I did previously. And I'm going to type 20 millimeters. And that gives me a slightly wider angle view. And I can back up. Walking shoes, back up. There. So this gives us an idea at this point of the view that we're going to have. Obviously, all this stuff is going to get cleaned up. Hope you can still hear me. My internet connection is unstable. At least I just got that message. Okay. And I'm going to go to scenes. And I'm going to add a scene here. Interior. Oh, forgot to type over it. Interior. And let's I think a view like this, turn on shadows. And doesn't make sense. My eye height, 3'10". It looks normal. It's weird. All right, well, this looks right. Let me just do place camera. It's too close. Let me back up. And I'm just going to save this as another view. Okay, interior. And a little side note that for folks that we haven't really gone into it, and you won't be doing that with these projects, but you notice how SketchUp does an animation? It doesn't just snap me to another view. It actually does the animation in between. Oh, and let me turn on shadows. And take that. So right now I just have 2 scenes. I might add a third. While I'm at it, it's easy to add the scenes. And I want to do one just looking straight on the front of this guy.
And you should all look at the photographs to help decide which scenes you like. If you're not sure, you know, the actual photographs might give you some ideas rather than just looking at the SketchUp model and this empty earth.
And okay, so this is coming together. We'll get the roof on, and we'll try to do the ceiling first before we put the roofs on, even though we can put them on their own layer. But it's beginning to get where we need it to be. Okay, so file, save. And now I have to check. I have 2 files with the same name. My mistake. To Potsdam Lodge, progress. Okay, so what I did with this, I did a few more moves. I extruded up the interior walls That isn't all of the interior. And let me turn off. Okay. And I redid this one. I made a messy job of the floor slab in the previous iteration, so I cleaned it up. I did it from scratch. I did the floor slab again. Oh, and there is one thing which I am not going to worry about. I decided I wasn't sure if we should make a change or not. Abdullah did a very nice job with the CAD work here, but I think everything is actually scaled a little too small. The door is narrow. It's like if we take a quick measurement on it, we could scale everything up, but I'm not sure I want to do that. So let me just do option. Yeah, it's not. Door is going to be at least 2'6". Yeah, these are all. It's a little small, but I'm just going to let it be. It means if you import furniture, it may look too big, potentially.
And the whole room might look too tall if you do
Yeah,
8 foot
well, the
ceiling.
section, it may be. This is just going to look too narrow. Both the plan and the section are in the same scale.
Mm-hmm.
So both are too small. And we can scale everything up. I hadn't really thought about, I thought about doing it and thought that could be a little grisly, but it could be done. So it's possible to do that. This guy is the most straightforward of the 3 projects. And it's concrete floor slab, concrete walls, concrete ceiling. These are probably concrete block that's been finished. It's painted black on the outside and painted white on the inside. Very straightforward. This was a little tricky. You guys I showed you already. I just traced around. Let's see, let me make that. These are sitting here. Make a component, interior walls. Create. Hide. So basically to create those walls, I just went around. I just traced. I'm not going to do it again. I did enough tracing on the last one. I went from here to here to here, etc., and just traced it out, created it, closed it, finished it by closing it, and just extruded it up the height of the walls, which I've determined is like 9 feet, something like that. But you can, all of you now have the tools to do a measurement. So here, let me just double check. I did the walls. Excuse me. Measure tool. Take measure. Or I could actually just click on an object. 8. Okay. I've rounded it up to 8 feet. It's a little over 7'9". That seemed low. So can people see like the rest of these guys without my explaining how I did them? Where I'm going to go back to view, edit, unhide all. So here's basically the box. Okay. So let's see, what are some of the things I could do? Well, let's get to the windows. And this is one thing, like, I didn't really show you these guys before. There's really there's a door and there's 2 windows on this back side here. a high window and then there's a lower window. And I can, let me just measure this. So 3'10" to that windowsill, and then another let's say 3 feet for that window. Okay, so X-ray view is on. And so what I would suggest you do here, rather than punch a hole, is use these construction lines and then get rid of them when you're done. So I'm going to pull this up. I should have noted those numbers down. I think it was 3'10" to the bottom of the window, but I should double check that. That makes sense. Kitchen standing below eye height. And I think I said 3'6". It's pretty high. Okay. So I just have to remember to erase these guys because these will show up later, not in a rendering, but if you export this to Photoshop. So let me start. So I'm going to, this wall is a component, so I'm going to double click on it. And I'm actually going to turn off X-ray. Oh, wait a minute, what happened to my guidelines? Where did they go? See, this was what happens when you don't practice first. Well, here's another way of doing it without guidelines. Looks like they're buried in the wall. Yeah, that doesn't look like that cut the face the way I wanted it to. So let me push, no. In fact, now that's in the way. Let's do edit. Okay, so let me just do this so it will read on the surface. Let's see. I see, these don't quite align. That's the problem. So I'll pull this straight up, 3'10". pull this over. Okay, this is not going my way. All right, let's. I always wanted to say on face on component when I'm trying to make a hole in a component. And I'm going up on this 3'6".
Do you ever use the tape measure to pull construction lines for things?
Yeah.
You do?
I was just trying it. I don't particularly like it, and I put in the wrong construction line, so I went back and deleted them.
Okay, I glanced away for that, but I don't see you do it too often. Actually, I don't think.
Hmm?
I don't see you do it too often, really.
No, I don't like them very much because
Okay.
they're a little bit like, it's a philosophical thing. Briefly, it's like the construction lines. People use them a lot, and they forget to erase them.
Hmm.
And it looks really, really bad when
Okay.
you don't have them. I've noticed that. And what I do is I'd rather just simply create a line. And if it's temporary, I only use it temporarily, I'll delete it
Yeah.
rather than a construction line.
Mhm.
But that's it's like my like I like X lines just fine. But the problem is that people forget to really trim or delete them, and you just have all this
Yeah.
extra stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, and the problem is it's snapping to other things, which I have to be careful about. On face on component, that's what I want.
Hmm.
Let's pray. Also, it doesn't look like that worked.
No.
No, it doesn't look like it's cut the face. Because it's the subtle message that SketchUp gives me that the line is heavy. So if I click this, and I could be proven wrong, and I push pull it, yeah, it's not part of that face of that wall. So part of the problem is my wall doesn't coincide. See this little gap here? It's
Mhm.
the edge of my slab and the edge of my wall, but that's the edge of the drawing. And that little discrepancy is causing me some agita.
It's like
So
it's confusing SketchUp. Is that what it's doing?
it is. It doesn't know what to snap to.
Huh. It looks like you're doing it correctly, but like.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem is it's snapping to the thing that's just slightly off.
Yeah.
So we can do it the old way, which was to cut from the floor. Let me get rid of it. You don't need the section line in the model.
Or could you do it from the inside out?
Try.
Maybe. If you get rid of the roof, the roof's not in your way.
Yeah.
That's the thing about SketchUp. It's like the simplest of all our programs, but it's also very finicky in certain ways, I find.
Well, one of the things that's a little frustrating is that I don't know how to turn off the equivalent of object snap. Like it's snapping to a lot of different things, because that's the problem. In 3 dimensions, you have a lot of things that you could snap to.
Yeah.
And while it's great, it recognizes these things, it can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
So let's see, what can I do with this guy? I think this is my window here. So if I draw a line, and I'll just say it's from the edge of the countertop, and I go up 3'6". Whoops, where did everything go? Where did it all go? It's still not doing it. It's still, I can tell it's not, it's sitting on the face. I'm going to try one more time, and then I'm just going to move on because the afternoon is grace. We try this one more time.
You were sure that push-pull wasn't going to work there? You could tell?
Yeah, because the line stayed bold. If they cut the surface, they would have gotten light.
Okay.
So I'm going to try this one more time. And then I'm going to cry.
Don't cry.
Okay, 3'6". All right, over on face, that's good. Actually, let me draw another line from here.
Hmm.
Come on. I want it to cross to here. That is looking right. See, the difference this time is that the line turned thin. That means I'm dividing the surface. I'd forgotten to open the component. That was my mistake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's what I was drawing on top of it. Now I should be able to press pull this through. Yay. Bam, there we go. Window may not be quite right in the vertical position. Oh, it's on the bottom of the wall. Shit.
It's all right. That's all right.
But you get the idea.
Yeah.
Abdullah, he cut all the way through, and then filled in. But yeah, that was the mistake there. But it's a hole in the wall, and that's what I wanted. It's just a bit too low. But I can push.
A dog door under the sink.
It's exactly what it is. You got to be able to bring your dog to this nice Mexican retreat. But I can pull this up. The other than it aligning with the countertop, we really this back wall is a bit of a mystery. There's only one photograph, and we can barely see it because there's a hill right behind it. So you hereby, the people that are doing the lounge, you get a certain artistic license. Let me see if I can just close this up. Close the wrong thing. I'm going to wager I can press pull that through. Well, there you go. So let me view, and so I don't know why it's under, it should be under view, unhide all. What happened to my roof? Why didn't it unhide? I didn't delete it, did I? Or did I? There. All right. And then this glass curtain wall, even though we realize there are doors in it, it's pretty subtle. So it's again a set of rectangles. There. And I extrude them up. Come on. Okay, and then I can make that into a component and copy it. Mulligan, create. And while I'm doing that, let me double click in this. And this is going to be black. That's the framing. And we're going to need top and bottom framing as well. But let me do that really fast. And then I better get onto the yard house. Okay, so materials. And I know pure black is at the end, and that's what I need, black. And I also need top and bottom, this doesn't just dive into the concrete. So I needed a line. And I need a section. Do a rectangle. Let's do it. Is that not closing? It's not closing. Why is it? Sorry. There. Don't. One thing in SketchUp, if sometimes the it doesn't cooperate in closing like a rectangle, you can almost always get it to close by drawing a rectangle or a diagonal across the shape that you want. So I'm going to use the Follow Me tool to extrude this. And that is, and I can just, come on, let's go. Keep going. There. Okay. And then I would copy these and then I would put in a glass plane. But let me see, now that it's 4 o'clock, we only have about half an hour. So this is, you guys, and I'll give you a little slack on putting in the windows in the back because that caused me some aggravation. I mean, I kind of got something, but let me just see if I put in material here. See, this is what happens when I didn't rehearse, but I didn't have enough time to rehearse all the 3 projects. Oh, gray glass. Yeah, that's working. Okay. Far enough. I can get rid of those lines. There's some lines that are easy to get rid of. And there are other lines that are going to show up. So there's the door here, and then there's another window over here. So, and then you just copy this guy along as a component to do the rest of the framing, and then you put in a plane of glass and it can cut right through it. Are there any questions on this project, on the Mexico to Patzlan?
I have a question on that window. So the window in the back is just 3 feet by 3 feet?
I actually don't know Hector anymore. I got kind of frustrated. I
Oh,
just said, ah, darn, I just want a window.
so you just want
Yeah.
us to make our own window?
Yeah, well, you can measure it off of, you can at least get the height off of the section. This guy.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
and you have the width in plan, so you should be able to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, it is roughly, yeah, 3 feet high. And yeah. So this is what I want to see if is all this, even if you don't get to the glass, and we can talk about that on Tuesday, is, to frame as much of this out as possible. So get these mullions in, copy them, place them, and then interior walls, windows. This is the one by Sunday that I expect to see pretty substantially complete. Because it's a pretty, even though the angles are a little frustrating and you may actually have to play around with the axis tool, I want to see how you do. The submission for this Sunday is graded. So you want to get it in because you want to get points. It's a big, just a big thing is like, you submit things and that's the best way of keeping your grade up. And the other thing is that I want to see how you progress, but this one should be the furthest along. So punch in the doors and windows in the back, have the really storefront system, but let's call it a curtain wall in on this side. And I don't think that's too much to ask. And then you can start playing around with the interior and putting in some minimal furnishings. Okay.
Will you show us how to build a fireplace next week, Michael?
Brick by brick, which
No, the hanging piece. Isn't that the one?
Yeah, let's see. Let me take a quick look, but I will see if this is one of those things that is it actually there. I would like a photograph of it if I can't.
Oh, really?
See it.
Oh, we see it in section. Did we never saw it?
Section, and I could make something like that in section, but it's a little hard. I mean, it's conical, and I can show you how to make a shape like that, but it's a little bit like I'm suspicious of it. Because I don't see any evidence of it when I look at the photographs.
Ah.
It could be there. It probably should be.
Does the other house have one?
The let's see.
The two-story house?
The two-story house does not have a fireplace.
Okay. I thought I saw one, but I guess it was just the drawings. Huh? I had it in my mind.
No, it's not. There's not.
Yeah.
I am looking for this. We could put one in, but that is a little bit where we have to rotate it. It would be where this couch is.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right.
And unless it's squished right off the camera, it doesn't seem to be there.
Ran out of money.
That's it. Well, this is probably in an ideal climate too, where
you
don't need very much.
So that goes to say that you should probably remove it from your plan, and your section if it's not there, or you do a SketchUp view that avoids it.
Yeah, and I would say I'm going to err on the side of saying let's do a SketchUp view that avoids it. That we're inside looking out.
Yeah.
This project in particular could look phenomenal if we can get, I don't know if we're going to have the time, we're running low on time to put it in Lumion. Because this deals a lot with natural light and vegetation. And those are two things that Lumion does really, really well. So, so I expect this to be, the architecture of this to be substantially complete by Sunday. Because there's not that much to it. It's a little tricky with the angles, I grant you that, but it's a pretty simple structure. Okay, and if you're good, I'll show you how to make that fireplace. It's a little tricky, but it's not impossible. There's a couple ways of doing it. All right, let's take a look now at the yard house. Let's look at it again in the photographs. Yard house. Okay, so we've got this really cool, although not to American code stair, I venture. And we kind of want to see this. So we want to get this in on the ground floor before we get up to the third floor. The nice thing is that this particular configuration of fireplace, of stair, is super easy to do. It's just an extrusion. So we don't even have to build, like ordinarily, I would encourage folks to build treads and risers, but we don't really have to do it for this guy. We'll draw a profile, we'll offset it, and then we'll take away the other pieces. So let's get into the yard house. Okay. Okay, so here I've done it. So here's the stair. And I did, damn, what I put on my calculations, I do have them. This is the world of Post-it notes. I did do the calculations for the stair, put it on a Post-it note. Okay. So I also made it into a component, which nicely I can take away and do this for folks. Oops. Okay. I'll save that. I'll just move this out of the way. But it's actually saved in this drawing. Come on, compact. Use that very much. Okay, so I'm establishing and I am this is a little goofy. Okay, so if I go to camera, parallel, yeah, and then okay. Yes. So I can measure this, the way this stair is drawn in section and elevation makes no sense to me in that it is drawn where it's a half a riser above the next level, the next floor level. And that seems like, no, that makes no sense. So let's see what we can do about that. And this is going to be approximate. So I'm going to do a quick measure. Option. Bam. So 9'6". Oh, I'm going to say 9'8". And I counted this already in the photograph, not in this drawing, that there are 15 risers. So I came up with, just barely meets the code, that the risers are 7 3/4 of an inch. I basically divided this because there were 15 risers, 7 3/4. Ironically, it's just right on the edge, right, David, of it being residential code in the United States. I think the treads are too shallow, but we're not going to bring the inspectors in from the United States on this Spanish project. All righty. So sorry, my Mac interface is back to window. Okay. So rectangle. Push pull this up, and I'm probably going to do something about these wall heights, but that may not be for today. I'm going to push pull this up. I established it was 9'8" from floor to floor. So I'm going to pull this up. 9'8". Okay. And then I'm going to draw this. .75. We can't see it. And I'm going to pull this over. It's not snapping to that. So now I do the copy. Hold down the shift key to select more than one. Tap the option key. Pick the move copy command. Whoa, wrong thing. Oh, it's all stuck together. There we go. I have to. And I'm going to type 15x. That should be too many, but we'll see. Shoot. One more try here. Shift. Option. And 15x. There. That's done what I wanted it to do. There's one extra. Okay, well that was, and this thing I did rehearse, but I did it several days ago, so that's what's throwing me off a little bit. So the rest of this is going to be pretty easy to create this particular stair. Straight run, even riser and tread, reinforced concrete. I'm going to use the offset tool. And I'm going to pull this, and I actually don't know what this dimension is. I just have to make it sort of look right. I have basically looking at the photographs. And then I start cleaning stuff away. Okay, and then I'm going to push-pull this, and I will have the stair. There, beautiful. Oh, darn. All right, well, I should be able to heal that up. Should doesn't mean will, but I could also say we won't ever see it from that angle. Let's see, what can I do here to make this work? Yeah, that pretty much did it. We actually never see it from that side. That was going to be my slight cop out. Well, you get the idea. Although, again, like David said, let's start framing this in terms of views, camera, switched perspective. Okay, so there's my new stair and there's the old one. And I will want a view standing here looking up the stair. I can almost guarantee, like, there are probably, in this project, there's going to be this view. eye height at 8'8". That makes no sense. And I want to make it at 5'6". That's more like it. And I want to back up. And I want to do camera field of view. And I don't know why it defaults to 57 millimeters. I'm going to do 20 millimeters and see where that gets us. Interiors, maximum you can go, or the number you want to aim for, is 20 millimeters. Okay, that's pretty exaggerated, but let me just adjust eye and move backwards. Take a walk down the steps. There we go. That's a little more like it. That's a little exaggerated. I like this view. This is a view that I'm going to want for the board. Once we get the roof in and the light coming in and all that other cool stuff and looking out in this courtyard, it's maybe a little distorted, maybe almost too wide angle, but I'm gonna save this view. So I do that by going to Scene and Add a Scene. Interior stair. Okay. And I'm going to just walk. Now that I've gotten myself on the ground, oh, my eye height is too low. That's what's strange. So let me adjust my eye height. And instead of, I'm going to type 5'6". Yeah, that's a little more like it. Yeah. Okay. We just have to imagine the second floor. I am looking at this. Will we get to the second floor? Damn, maybe not. Okay. Save this. Remember, just like AutoCAD, save your SketchUp files frequently. If you have a problem with your file, like you simply can't recover it, this can happen. The file gets corrupted. There is, if you look on your drive, there should be an SKB file. And that's just like the AutoCAD backup file, BAK file. You can rename it as an SKP file and open that. Okay, so let's see. This is a part which I'm scared about because I didn't really fully rehearse it. Okay, camera, field of view, and I'm going to make it back to 35. Okay. Yeah, and I like this stair better, but I want to make that into a component. Pretty much everything in your models should be a component or made part of a component. I mean, the island here, that doesn't have to be a component. That can just sit on the floor. So you want to do the island kitchenette thing here. The refrigerator is a custom refrigerator tucked under the stairs. Let us see. Okay. X-ray view time. So this is the part where the strategy, we're running low on time, is to actually do the upper floor by extruding the section. And I'm just going to start with this piece here. And this runs all the way through, push, pull this. X-ray view off. Okay, that went. Actually, that went about what I wanted. So the step, the step is slightly off here, but I'm not gonna worry about that. I guess if I calculated it a little more closely, I'm off by how much? We're not gonna worry about it. We've got lots of other stuff to worry about these days. Let's see. Let me just measure like how I got that wrong. A little over 1 inch. I'm not going to worry about that. And then I'm going to pull this guy across as well, this as the floor. Oops. Come on. Keep coming. Keep coming. Come on. Here. Okay, and that ideally should have fit exactly between these two guys, but other things to be concerned about. Okay, so I'm going to build up the floor and then I'm going to build up the walls in section. Let's see, what's my next move here? Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to tuck this back. And I'll also give folks a little bit that are working on this yard house is we can't see this back wall, so we're not going to worry very much about it. We want to make the other walls as neat as possible. So I think another really good view would be something like along here looking across the yard into the space. So that would be a very logical next step for this guy. Okay, let me see. The problem is, let me show you what my intentions are for this and then see how well that works. Okay, so I am going to, and there we go. All right, I may be running a little long today, but this is what I wanted to show. So I'm going to extrude this guy along the length. Bam. And because it's after 4:30, you can see I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And for those that have to tune out, you'll tune out. And I want to show you where I expect you to be with this project by Sunday. So let's hope this goes as smoothly as the last one. Come on. Just going to go right over that skylight. This is where I pray. Yay. Okay. See, I thought at the end of class today, nothing was going to work, but this did work. This did do pretty much what I wanted it to do. And I'm going to extrude this. I'm going to ignore the skylight. You don't need to put it in. It's in the bathrooms. I mean, I looked really closely at this project. So it really doesn't add up to anything you'd experience unless you're all the way in the bathroom. So I'm not going to, the skylight's kind of a false lead here. And let me pull this, which should go rather smoothly, somewhat smoothly. There, and line it up. All right. Well, you can see yard happens. The only thing left is to do the end wall. I'll leave that to your imagination, but that's not very hard. I would turn this all into a component because I'm crazed for components. So I'm going to select shifts and make component. Bam. All right. Really finishing off this wall out here, that's going to pretty much bring us home for this project. All right. So for where I didn't think things were going to work, it worked, more or less. But you never know. You figure the end of the afternoon, it's going to be, your brain's fried and it's not going to work. But one of the things I do hope that you folks get out of this is you are not, when you design something and your main tool is SketchUp, you're not stuck with a really boring section and just extruding everything up from the ground. You can really do all kinds of really interesting shapes and constructions. In a way, I really like these projects because they're quite different and they show different aspects of how you can use this modeling program. So this is where I want to see the yard house by Sunday. And it would be nice if you actually did the walls in the courtyard, but that's super easy. the walls of the courtyard. That's you just they trace them and extrude them up. They're all even. Okay. So I'm going to leave it now. If you're as exhausted as I am, that doesn't mean I'm ready for questions. Otherwise, I will look forward to receiving your SketchUp models by midnight on Sunday.
And if I could
I have
just
a question.
Whoops. Oh,
yes, Essa, what's your question?
So I'm trying to make a line in SketchUp, and it's just a simple line, and I'm putting in the measurement. And when I push enter, it just gives me a line of a completely different measurement.
Hmm.
It's so weird.
it could be
It's like,
something.
no, it's like nothing in this file right now.
Huh. You just type the number you want and you hit the return key and it gives you something wrong.
Is
It
it
just gets stuck sometimes. I was trying to do a rectangle like on like the very bottom, and it took forever would like select the whole thing. So it just gets stuck sometimes.
are you putting in the right foot sign? And how does that go, Michael? Just a foot sign, inches? You have to put, make sure you type in the proper dimension, type in the dimension properly.
Or if
I think
people,
so.
I could take a look at it. You can share your screen, but let me see if there are any other questions or David, you had, I think something.
I just wanted to add quickly that I did grade the last AutoCAD submission. So see your comments there. But again, I went over it. I took an hour to go over it last class, and that's all recorded. So, you're on the hook for everything I talked about for that hour. So for everybody's comments, I gave the top 5 or 6 things that jumped out at me. But in general, they're in very good shape. But there's a little more work to just bring it home completely. So look at your comments, and maybe well, if you really have any CAD issues, email me sooner than later and I can meet you on Monday. Okay. If otherwise it's due on Sunday, but if you have an issue, email me and we could talk on Monday about it. All right. I think it's all pretty straightforward. That's all I have. So if you have to take off, have a good productive weekend. And otherwise Michael will stick around for any questions on SketchUp.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question on the SketchUp. So when we're submitting our file, is it a PDF file that we're submitting?
No, just to give me your SketchUp file.
The SketchUp file, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Good question, though.
Bye-bye.
Romina? Oh, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right, well, let's see. Maybe with oh, sorry, Kira.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Okay. So about the floor plan, right? I had a hatch, well, the floor hatch in it, but you guys said it was too busy, so I took it out. But other people had it, but it was lighter.
Yeah, light could be good. Which project? I've forgotten now. You were doing
The lounge.
the lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, I don't recall seeing that with other people on the lounge.
One person had it. Who was it? Abdullah? Was that Abdullah? Somebody had it worked out pretty nicely. It's not so easy to do. I don't remember. Let me see. Who was that? Kira?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yours here, Hatch isn't there now. Yeah, it was a tricky one to do well, I would say that. But it could be left out, right, Michael? We didn't think it was necessary.
It's not actually, and in this case, the hatch pattern, from what I can tell, is not replicating anything that's really there. This is a goofy set of drawings. Yeah, there's the floor looks like it's just concrete.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Abdullah did do one, but yeah, you could leave it out.
Okay, and I have one last question. So you don't want us to take it to Photoshop?
Correct. Yeah, I don't think there's time. Focus on SketchUp.
Okay, but if we have time, could we or no?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't
discourage you.
Yeah, we wouldn't say no, but we don't want it to take away from SketchUp. So And SketchUp's going to go into Photoshop, and you have to build a board. So
Hmm.
you got to prioritize. But yeah, I mean, if you're so ambitious, you know, just don't let the other things suffer.
Just
But,
for
but
the floor.